By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the $80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to do our pick 6, 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I just
go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Bain tries.
Oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jared with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Woo! Let's go!
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting an NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope, too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished 3rd in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Live from downtown Memphis, this is the Chris Vernon Show on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Chris Vernon.
Here we go. It's noon on GrindCityMedia.com. It's Chris Vernon Show. Welcome. It is the Thursday, May 8th, 2025 edition of the show. Today on the show, unbelievable night of basketball, at least for the first game, as the Knicks went up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. We'll get to everything that happened in that game. Thunder pulled it even by putting the beat down on the Denver Nuggets last night in Oklahoma City. We'll get to that. We've got one game that is going on tonight. We'll get to all the news and notes of the day. And Brian Anderson, one of the voices for TNT, who will be calling Warriors Timberwolves tonight in Minnesota, is going to join us on the show at 12:30 today, live from Minnesota. It's a nice day outside. Smile. Let's do it. Turn it up. Yeah. Hope everybody's having a good day. All right, got a bunch of stuff to get to on the show today. And as I mentioned, Brian Anderson, who's going to be on the call with Stan Van Gundy tonight for the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Golden State Warriors. He is going to join us at 12:30. Before I get to anything, I'll welcome John Roser to the show. John Roser, a.k.a. the Cologne Ranger, the Body Spray Bandit in your sack. Johnny Backpole, Johnny Bearcat, the Grim Roser, John Asparagus, Johnny Neck Carve, John Lance. He's Yogi Roser.
What up?
Hello,
What
John.
up?
Hello.
Yeah.
Devin Walker's here. He's the microphone mangler, Senor Quasadilla, Mr. Math, Navo Joe, the reporter, the photographer. He's Sir Hiss. He's Walker93.
How you doing, good people? How you doing, fellow people, Americans, everybody else? How y'all doing?
That's enough. We were texting last night during the Celtics and the Knicks game. And I believe at one point I texted you guys, I said, this is unbelievable. Like, how is this happening again? How is this happening again? How are the Knicks walking them down again? How are they missing every shot again? And then for it to unfold the way it unfolded at the end of that game, where you have, everything went catastrophically wrong for Boston, and now New York has taken the lead, but then, they run this play coming out of a timeout, and Jayson Tatum gets the wide open dunk, and Mitchell Robinson, I'll never know what he was doing.
Yeah, what was he doing on that?
When he just gets just blown by for an open dunk.
Just for the vibes.
And then,
why were you up that high?
So then there was a timeout, and with the way the game played out at the end, it made me think, because I watched the press conferences after the game, and I watched Joe Mazzulla talking about how they didn't take a timeout, and what they were going to do at the end of the game was they were going to run that play again. Like, we had just done it. We were going to run it again. And obviously they did a much better job of defending it, right? And that's why Tatum got caught where he got caught and whatever, right? It dawned on me as he was saying that, So you remember Tatum gets that wide open dunk.
Yep. Got downhill. Yeah.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Right? And it's then where I was like, I guarantee that they got to that timeout, and my inclination is Tibbs probably didn't even talk about whatever they were going to do for the last offensive possession. I think he probably didn't even broach the subject. It was, Mitchell, what are you doing? Like, what just happened? Like, how did we just give up an open dunk? Mm-hmm. And so they had probably just told, and obviously this probably didn't run through Missoula's mind, but just understanding the way Thibodeau works and listening to Tibbs talk, I guarantee you that you would theoretically think, all right, now we're down 1, timeout, now we got to draw up whatever we're doing on offense. No. It would not surprise me if they didn't even draw up whatever. Like, okay, like here's what just went wrong on defense, right? And then you have the last play of the game play out the way it did. And to Missoula's credit, he said, this is what, like, we're going to do that again. Right? Like where was Tatum. Going? He got that high screen the first time and then just got downhill.
Yeah, he got downhill easy.
And the second time was unable to get downhill. This is great. I always love, and we have highlighted many times in the past, the radio calls from our own Eric Hasseltine. Tyler Murray is the guy that is on the call for the Knicks radio. This is how he called the very end of that game.
Second free throw for Brunson. Got them both. That one was a swish. Knicks by 1 at 91-90. Celtics not using the timeout. Tatum across midcourt with 10. Top of the key with 8. Defended by Robinson with 7. Right wing 3. Crossover. Foul line with 4. Left block. Step back. Stolen by Bridges. Bridges chucks it down court. They've done it again. They've done it again. The New York Knicks take both in Boston and a 2-0 lead heading back to the Mecca.
Go New York, go New York.
I love, and a 2-0 lead heading back to the Mecca.
Go New York, go New York, go.
So,
go New York, shout New York.
So
man.
There was like a Spotify event that was going on downtown that Jacoby helped out with in New York. So he was already downtown, and he's texting me as this is going on. The Spotify event ended. He's like, I'm going into some bar. He's like, I got to see the end of this, right? I'm going to go around fans. And then he's like, I'm going to the Garden. He's like, I'm going out there. He's like, they have a huge video screen that's out there.
Yeah.
And he's like, so people are outside just like watching. He's like, this would be great for the show. I'm going to go. I'm getting in the mix. And so I text you guys the screenshot when he FaceTimed me last night. I mean, he's in the middle. And for the first time, so I answered my phone. Of course, I'm just laying around watching the games. And the first thing he FaceTimes me, they are... and he's screaming along with them. They're going, F those picks. F
Let's
those
go.
picks in honor of Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Great fan base.
Because they have gone for the 5 first-round picks have been a source of discontent every time Mikal Bridges is not awesome.
Yeah.
It's 2 game-winning plays in a row, right? And showed up offensively in the fourth quarter of both of those games.
They're beating the allegations, too, bro. Remember during the season they said they couldn't beat a good team?
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't.
They couldn't. They couldn't. Obviously, they couldn't. But
they couldn't.
Yeah, they were like 0-11 versus top 3 seeds.
Now it's playoff time. They got cracking, bro.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is you built this team to have the wings so that you could deal with Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown.
Yep.
And Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown have been bad.
The fourth quarter is
bad. What are they doing if they're not creating the advantage for their team? Yeah. And Tatum, buddy,
low IQ.
This is a rough go for a star.
Bro.
I mean,
he looks so in his head in the fourth quarters.
There was a lot of. This is why Steve Kerr pitched him in the Olympics.
They're like, if we would have played him, we would have got a bronze medal.
all the Steve Kerr memes were so hilarious.
Steve Kerr was right, bro.
Steve Kerr justified. It is decision. Yeah. Hashtag Steve Kerr knows. So I talked to you about how Tibbs last night, he gets to the press conference and he's talking about how, what they did down the stretch, and obviously there's tons of grit with this New York Knicks team, and I mean, you have two just monster collapses by
Yeah,
Boston.
I think that's the most the sad thing about it. Like, bro, you had 20 ball, 20 leads. 20
How?
leads
Literally.
at your crib. You lost it at your crib.
They beat the crap out of the Knicks all in the regular season. Like, every game they killed them.
You got to feel like crap,
And in
bro.
both of these games, they've been killing them in both of these games, and then the fourth quarter happens.
Time leading in the series, 81 minutes and 4 seconds to 12-15. I mean, it's just crazy.
Did you hear? I heard Rob Mahoney say this on with Waz.
Yep.
Do you know what the Knicks' offensive rating was last night?
7.
95.
Yeah, but you got to extrapolate that. Their half-court offensive rating, it's been infinitely better.
Their fourth quarter was...
No, it's been much, much better. I'm saying than the Celtics. Yeah. Celtics have, and it stands to reason. You watch it, and it's like, ugh.
When they get to the half court in the fourth quarter, it's like they look...
And the Porzingis thing, is it the weirdest thing ever that there is this high profile of a team that came off a championship and... He had, you remember he missed that time in, February?
Missed 8 games.
With this, mystery illness. I can't remember a time where a guy had an illness that no one can identify what the illness, and it's not like it just came about.
No, it was, he got sick in March, missed 8 games, and it's still lingering in May.
Yeah, what
kind of sickness is that?
And we also know this. You have, the most world-class doctors in the world that would be able to look at a $25 million basketball player.
Yes.
Yeah. And figure out what's going on.
What illness is this?
What is this?
He keeps saying it's killing me inside. It's hurting me inside. The illness is killing him on the inside.
But nobody can. This is borderline scary.
Yeah,
no one can.
Bacterial infection.
How can no one identify what his illness is?
Yeah, the street. There's not long COVID, bro.
Huh?
The streets are saying it's long COVID.
Long
COVID. It can't be long COVID, bro.
Yeah.
It's March to May, dog. March to May.
It's a
What's
long
wrong
time.
with you?
All right. You know how much I love Tibbs press conferences. And last night, this is going to relate to our Tuesday show when Tony Allen was in here. And it's all I thought about as I was watching the Tibbs press conference last night, because one of the things that Tony talked to us about on Tuesday when I was asking him about playing for Tibbs and about these practices, and he's like, I don't know if he's as hardcore as he used to be, but I'm sure he is. He said they would play these games where they would split up the teams and they would play, and if you scored, you didn't get the point. So you would play to 5. You would play these games of 5, which actually took a lot longer than you would think they would, because your point only counted if you got a stop on the other end. Therefore, the level of defensive intensity was turned up to 10 when you're playing even in practice, because if we score on the other end, it doesn't even count. It doesn't even go on the scoreboard unless we get a stop on the other end. So now you're just stop, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's just trying to get stops. Everybody's locked in on defense, because the way you win the game is not by scoring. The way you win the game is by getting stops. And so that's a tenet of which he believes in. And last night he's asked about, hey, these offensive runs that you have gone on in these last 2 games. And last night, it just got severe, right? There was at one point they flashed up on the screen, it's like a 21-2 run. I don't know what the final run ended up being. But as they eliminated that lead, and so he's asked about these offensive runs that happened at the end of both of these games. And you are never going to believe what he ends up talking about. This is Tibbs last night when he's asked about these offensive runs.
Tom, when you think about clutch, a lot of people consider that offensive, but now this is the second time that Mikal has come up big, the game on the line on defense.
Yeah.
Is clutch defense a thing in
Yeah, like people always talk about offensive runs. I think you go on defensive runs as well. You also go on rebounding runs. You'll see guys, all of a sudden, they have, like Josh is a prime example. All of a sudden, he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and then he'll get like 4 or 5 in a row. So it's like making shots. And so I think whatever it takes for us to win, like Carl had the big and one, Mikal with timely baskets, Jalen with timely baskets, Josh with his hustle, Mitch all over the floor, switching, guarding, great impact. But that's a team working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't mention the whole part about them going on score row.
38-17 was
rebounding and defense.
Right? He's like, people like to talk about offensive runs. There's also defensive runs. Okay. All right, Tibbs. All right, bro. Like, that's his thing.
Yes. Yeah, he don't care about no. I don't care
like
what
the
you do
offense will come. We'll get the buckets, right?
Yeah, Jalen Brunson go score.
And you watch them play offense, and a lot of times you're like, yeah, okay, I can see. There's not as much attention to detail on this end.
Right.
But the defensive end, there is an attention to detail that is severe.
Yes.
And he shouted out Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson changes a lot. I mean, they're trying to get him off the floor. We're doing the hack-a-Mitch thing.
My guy almost killed somebody with that
That
free
was
throw.
so dumb, the last one.
The and one.
Bro, them was
buddy.
I said, where you shooting the ball
No
at?
chance.
No chance.
No chance. It was one of the worst free throw attempts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Honestly. It had absolutely no chance. That's an NBA player. It's crazy.
Real life NBA player.
But hey, did you see at the end of the game they were talking? I guess somebody tried to lead Missoula into hey, was that a mistake to get Mitchell out of the game, because then it got Towns in the game, and then Towns ends up getting the offensive rebound and the putback and
put
whatever.
them in the penalty.
Right? And he's like, I mean, he does that borderline Rain Man thing.
Yeah.
Where he just starts recounting literally every play that took place down the stretch. He's like, so those two things are not related. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then he ends it. He ends his answer. He goes, we did the right thing. All of their starters are in the negative. He's plus 19. Mitchell Robinson was plus 19.
He was hooping, bro.
He's like, we had to get this guy out of the game if we could. If we could try to get this guy out of the game, we need to get this guy out of the game because the impact was severe.
Yeah. It was.
Because they probably, especially after they just went through we just shot 63s and missed 45 of them, they probably wanted to go to the basket a lot.
Yeah, Jalen Brown started going to the rack so much in that first second
and
quarter.
I saw one last night that they had a decent percentage from the restricted area, but they took I want to say they were 8 for 34 or something from non-restricted area twos, which is exactly where you want them shooting, right? This was again, in the end, if you're Boston, and we've said this many times when we've come in after Grizzly games, bro, if you give up 91 points, you have to win. In the end, you have to win.
Yeah.
You can't lose a game giving up 91. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can't.
That's
It's
crazy.
I said through 2 games, the Celtics have missed 75 threes and 35 shots in the paint. For the series, 67% in the restricted area, 30% in the paint, 27% in mid-range, 21% on corner threes, and 25% on above the break threes. That's the whole breakdown for the Celtics.
Wow.
Just shooting-wise.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
And look, they are the one that it's I'll say this on the Knicks behalf, because I know they're still, for good reason, because of the manner in which they have won those 2 games, there's good reason to believe that the Celtics are not out of this, and that especially because weirdly they are not good at home. You even
It's
go back
so
to
weird.
in the playoffs. No, it's weird.
It is.
No. I'm saying the Celtics aren't.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like they're more trustworthy on the road.
Yeah.
In the past. And they've been down in the past in series.
They're champions, bro.
The other thing, too, they have also, they can get up 20 on the Knicks. The Knicks have not shown that they can get up 20 on them.
This is true. I will say this, though. While everybody thinks it could just very easily be 2-2, it has to be 2-2.
It has
or
to.
Boston's losing.
Yeah.
Bro, if the Knicks split at home, they're not losing 3 games in a row.
No.
Nah.
No.
3 out of
They're
4
not
is,
losing.
yeah.
They could lose 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
But they're not losing 3 in a row.
Yeah.
After being up 3. I just don't believe that.
We're gonna see
I don't
Boston's
believe
toughness.
that.
You'll see what the toughness they
You'll
got.
see, but boy, they didn't look tough last
No,
night.
because
you
well, that's the
testing the
thing.
liver
Like,
right now, bro.
they
Like-
played a lot of games in the last year. A lot of them.
I don't want to hear
He's
that,
Johnny
bro.
Excuse,
Yeah,
bro.
he's making
He's
excuses,
playing
bro.
against
Yeah.
a team that plays 50 minutes a
Yeah.
night.
Bro,
Everybody.
Mikal Bridges didn't play like 91 minutes in 2 games. What are you talking about playing a lot of
It's
minutes?
so weird. Like
Your guy Tatum caved.
oh, he did. He absolutely
Cave.
did.
Small ball Tatum.
He
Small
absolutely
ball.
did.
Small balls.
Yeah.
Small ball.
He shrunk, Roser.
Yeah.
He's
he
no
was-
Tyrese Halliburton.
No, he's not Tyrese Halliburton.
He was terrible. I was more disappointed in the final second. I was more disappointed Drew Holiday fouled Jalen Brunson. Like Holiday's better than that. That was a
He
that
also
was a weak
fouled.
foul.
He also fouled him 5 times on the drive.
Yeah,
I mean,
he bumped
they
him.
finally called the last one.
It was
He kept
weird.
grabbing him.
Yeah, it was weird. It's like Holiday, you're way better defensively than that.
Is he?
Yeah, way better.
Or maybe Jalen Brunson's just
no,
that guy.
Because game
Yeah,
one,
fuck
he
up
had a
Brunson,
possession
bro.
in the final seconds of game 1 on Brunson where he was.
All right.
Roser,
freaking
you're more
locked him
Tatum,
up.
bro. It may be.
Let me tell you about. Wait, hold on. Let me tell you about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson in the 4th quarters so far in the playoffs is
he's been
averaging
awesome.
11 points, 50% from the field, and 41% from 3. He has in 4th quarters 86 points. Nobody else has 50.
Yeah.
Dang.
Or more than 50. I'm sorry, more than 50. He had 36 more points than anybody.
He hooping, bro.
In the 4th quarters. And that's the thing. I kept texting Jacoby last night because I said, just stay in the game. Just get it to the 4th. Get it to the 4th within a range that you can deal with because you've got that guy.
Yeah.
Like that is, and they have not, oddly, and we're about to get to the Thunder and the Nuggets last night.
Yeah.
None of the Knicks games have been runouts. None of them.
Nah.
They've played all close games.
Yeah.
You remember that game 3 through 6 of that Detroit series were all decided by 3 or less points.
Yeah.
Like this is where they dwell.
They're
Dog
comfortable.
fights, bro. They want to be in the mud with it.
Right?
They want to be in
Comfortable.
dog fights.
Yes.
We got the dogs to fight with.
Right.
That want to do it.
Right.
But meanwhile, Jayson Tatum is Austin Day with better PR, Roser. That's your guy.
Come on.
That's your guy.
That's a bit much. Austin Day.
My bad, I'm joking,
Where
bro.
did you see that on the internet?
No, that's off the top of the dome right there, boy. Don't be a
Austin
hater.
He
Day
just
was
picked
better
a
than
random light-skinned guy he doesn't like.
Yeah. Austin Day had been in the
Former
league for
Grizzly, by the
10
way.
years. Yeah, I know.
I saw Austin Day down at Ravens one night.
Yeah.
Doing what?
When he played for Gonzaga.
Yeah, bro. I watched Mark Few cuss out Austin Day on the bench at Gonzaga.
Shout out Austin Day.
He's like, Austin, I'm trying to coach a game. Shut the F up. I don't have effing time for this.
Yeah, that was a weird.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a weird year too because like all the coaches were on high alert. That was like the year that Blake Griffin's Oklahoma team was here, and they had another McDonald's All-American on their team, Willie Warren, and Jeff Capel just dog cussed Willie Warren.
Man.
Like, I was like, what is up with these coaches? Everybody's dog cussing everybody.
Syracuse had Johnny Flynn and Eric Devendorf and Paul Harris, and then that North Carolina team who ended up winning the national title was Ty Lawson, Danny Green, Tyler Hansbrough, Ed Davis. Like, dude, that team was so awesome.
That year, it was like the Elite Eight, right?
Yeah, Sweet 16 and Elite Eight here.
Yeah, Blake Griffin hit his head on the side of the backboard.
I remember that clip. That was like a moment forever.
I was on the front row when that happened.
Yep.
It was insanity.
Hit his head on the
insanity.
That's crazy.
On the side of the backboard. You know how far you've got to jump?
Yeah.
Blake Griffin's 101, bro. But no, I will say last night, I hate that, like, we're talking about fan base, me and Rose are talking about, like, Knicks fans are getting their moment, bro. And, like, I like Knicks fans because they're funny and obnoxious.
Yes.
They're, like, funny with their obnoxious. Like,
it's fun when they are winning because they are. It's like, this has been pent up forever.
It's like they're having fun with it, bro. It's like, we were talking about,
They've
the other
gone
side
through
is,
hell
like,
for a
Lakers
long
fans.
time.
Lakers fans are not funny.
Right.
They're
Like, Warriors
bougie
fans
and
are not
entitled.
funny.
That's right.
Like, Knicks fans are, like, objectively funny, bro. Like, the clip that was going around with the lady trying to kick them out of the arena.
Because they're not entitled.
No, they're
because they haven't won.
They haven't won
Yeah.
nothing.
know
They're
what
just
I mean?
having a good time, bro.
They've been through hell for a long, long time.
My guys
Frank and Ntilikina,
from
bro.
Knicks Fan TV, they've got the shirts. I need to get one of them. They got the shirts. It's not pretty, but it's gritty. Or something like that.
Bro. Shout out to Knicks fans.
Really
y'all
good.
have y'all moment, man.
And then the second game, shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder only for this reason.
Early.
Yep.
Oh, I got to watch that documentary because of the Thunder. Shout out to them.
So look, right at the beginning of the game, they had one of the, I think it was the sideline reporter was like, "Oh, we were talking to David Adelman today, and he assured us that these guys have come in with a focus and an edge, and they're not just pleased with getting 1 out of 2 in Oklahoma City." And I was like, that 100%. If you have to stay, hey, our guys aren't happy about getting the split. That means your guys are happy with getting the split because they ran into an absolute buzzsaw last night.
43 off the rip, bro.
Dude, right off the bat. And you could just, when you watch the Nuggets, like we've watched them, right? There is a level of intensity, attention to detail, like we saw it with the Warriors, right? It was like when push came to shove, like when they had to have the attention to detail, when they had to do whatever, like so many times these vet teams can end up just not, and maybe it will be so that they have problems that cannot be solved and they are going to be overwhelmed because of what Oklahoma City brings to the table. Here's me betting that's not true. And here's me betting that as I watched it last night, and I told you guys about this yesterday, this is what's supposed to happen when you lose game 1 at home. You're supposed to come back and smack the hell out of that team, right? Because that's what's so daunting about what happened with the Celtics. Like, your back's against the wall at that point. You cannot lose the first 2 games at home.
Right.
Yeah. Like, that has to be, you have to be keyed up to like, that has to be your grand slam effort.
Like,
you can't drop 2 at home, bro.
Like, the Cavs have, it's still crazy they blew that with the lead they had late in the game, but
they had their grand slam effort.
But they have an excuse. The fact that they didn't have 3 of their 5 best players.
That's what I'm saying. That's a grand slam effort without 3 of their top 6.
Yeah, Don played as hard as he could.
Right. They try. You know what I mean? But like you saw with Denver last night, there are adjustments that are made, which are obviously going to cause some problems, but there's a level of intensity that one team comes with that the other team just simply does not.
Yeah.
We've seen it here. I mentioned this to you guys yesterday, right? Twice, where you came back and you smacked around Minnesota after they beat you at home, and then you smacked around LA after they beat you at home. But like the Warriors one was like really close, and that's where you get a little worried. Like that's when you start to get a little more worried. It's like, uh-oh. Right? Like we made all our adjustments to this. So that is what's supposed to happen. And it might just turn out that Oklahoma City does have the goods to be able to deal with Denver. But I don't think that last night was, I think it's fair to say, no matter what you think, that is not a good read of both of those teams at their best.
You'll see a better Nuggets team.
That is clearly not both of those teams at their best. That's right.
Yeah, you'll see a better Nuggets team tomorrow night. Will it be enough to beat Oklahoma City?
Maybe not.
Maybe not, but you'll see a better version of it.
And you sure won't get that Jokic.
Yeah.
Nah, my guy, like you said, my
Believe
guy was
in
just,
that.
he was just like, all right, bro, I got my one, bro.
No, the only one that was playing like it mattered, like it was life or death, was Russell Westbrook.
And he was like trying to fight everybody. Like
he was the only one that was playing like it was life and death.
He was mad at everybody.
The rest of those guys, it was not life and death.
It was just for the vibes.
You could tell.
Yeah. Russ was yelling at people in the front row, and like I was like, yo.
I kind of wanted him to beat him by 53 just so it wasn't us that was the worst loss to Oklahoma City.
It was close. They were getting there. You know what I'm saying? At one point, it was a 50 ball. But
and what? Didn't Jokic foul out in the third quarter? Yeah. I turned it off by then.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that doc a little bit later on the show. Brian Anderson is going to be calling the Timberwolves and the Warriors tonight on TNT. He is in Minnesota as we speak. I think we've gotten a hold of him. Is Brian Anderson? Oh, look at him!
Turn up.
Oh, of course you're in a beautiful hotel. TNT's still paying, huh?
I think we're not at our best here, but we're good. We're good enough.
When you're in the midst of calling a playoff series, are you still locked in on the other games that are going on? Like last night, what was the view? Were you able to watch Knicks and Celtics and then Thunder Nuggets?
Yeah, we're in. We're following on our phones. I actually took part of our habit, and the thing I love about being with a crew and your same crew out on the road is I always try to take them to baseball games because obviously I still do Major League Baseball. And so last night I took our crew to a Minnesota Twins Baltimore Orioles game last night, and Brandon Pajemski actually showed up from the Warriors. He's a huge baseball fan, so he sat with us, and we hung out and watched the game, and we had a great time. But no, we're always on it. We're constantly talking about it.
Yeah,
we're on our phones. We're dialed in. Yeah, and then I watched the second game almost in its entirety, which wasn't much of a game.
That was not much of a game. I mean, all right, when your conversations, and I can only imagine, especially with being around Van Gundy all the time, about what's going on with the Knicks and the Celtics. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like this playoff series, these playoff series, this whole run. First of all, I think the officials are allowing way more than what I'm accustomed to over the years, and I'm not mad at it. I think it's great, and we're back to a physical style of play. I'm guessing that has come from above at the league at some point. I don't know if they'd admit to that, but it seems that way right from the first playoff game in the first round we did. So I think that's starting to change the way you play. It's a lot more physical game. There's a lot more wear and tear on your body throughout the game. Teams that are still, shooting the volume 3-pointers, a lot of those teams are feeling the effects of that, I think. So we're seeing some horrific 3-point shooting displays. In our game Tuesday, the Minnesota Timberwolves missed their first 16 3-pointers. I've never seen that ever. Like I've never seen like a team miss that much, and they're a really good 3-point shooting team. They were top 5 in the league in 3-point shooting. So that's kind of the vibe. And then so bodies are breaking down a little bit. You're getting these big comebacks, these big swings, and to see what has happened to Boston, that was the one team I thought would never happen to because of how disciplined they are, how great they are, how they match up just about every level. They're on a plus up and down their roster. So to see them blow 2 20-point leads is shocking. It is really shocking. And I think, the mid-range is back. The layups are back. Getting to the foul line is back. And so what we saw in the regular season, that's not the way the game is in the playoffs. And I think teams are having a hard time adjusting to that.
That's interesting because the whole idea behind that would be that there's and I watch Joe Mazzulla's press conferences, and it's like these are the shots we get, and basically it's like the numbers are going to work out our way in the end, right? That we're playing the math, and a lot of these teams, right? All these teams have the analytic departments, and they're playing the math. You just saw where Minnesota won a game shooting 7 for 47 from 3 against the Lakers. But to your point, that do those numbers apply when now the game is being played in a much different way? This is not just the game is being played differently in the playoffs as we have in years in the past. This is everybody has kind of functioned one way for the course of an 82-game season in the way they play. And now because they're allowing physical play to take place, that those 3-point shots it's not the same, right? Those numbers don't apply anymore because the 3 that I'm getting when I'm having to play in a war the rest of the game is not the same as the 3 that I was taking in the regular season.
Yeah, that's always been the case. The goal shrinks in the playoffs, and you can't really rely. I mean, that old phrase, the old cliche, live by the 3, die by the 3, kind of emerged out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I will say, the regular season game is completely different. There's load management. There are games when you're not seeing the best players matching up against the best players a lot. And that's not the case in the playoffs. You're getting the absolute best of these world-class athletes on every possession. But then that also leads to some fatigue. And so, the analytics community is not wrong about that and how it saps into you. But 3-point shots are difficult in the playoffs, and rebounding is heightened. So when you're missing shots and then you're giving up rebounds, or that's turning into fast breaks, I mean, the best transition opportunity is off a missed three. So if your volume of threes are high, then there are more chances to run easy baskets, more twos. There's obviously way more twos going on than threes, than free throws. And how do you get your break in a game? And that's with free throws. So the teams that are acknowledging and accepting this new reality, those are the ones that are thriving right now. It doesn't mean the three-point shot is not valuable and it doesn't have that dagger effect. We saw that in Houston in Game 7 with Curry. Curry was hardly a participant scoring-wise in the first half. But when the game mattered, he was the guy that was open because things started to soften up around the edges. And so, it's fascinating to watch because the playoffs have been really interesting, really entertaining. What feels like, especially in the West, the 6-7 matchup that we have, Warriors and Wolves, does not feel like a 6-7 matchup. These don't feel like teams that are down the rung. They feel like they can beat anybody.
As you were getting ready for that Warriors-Timberwolves series, you're a basketball fan like all of us. You have an opinion about what you're about to watch, right? And before you're about to call the game, right? You figure like the same way if anybody says like, hey, do you think that I think we posted ESPN, like the Wolves made quick work of the Lakers, and then the Warriors had this war with Houston. And so then when they had to pick it on ESPN, it was like, I think Ramona Shelburne was the only person that picked the Warriors. It was Wolves like 10 out of 11. And I think everybody kind of thought like, hey, the Wolves looked way more impressive in that last round. And then you fast forward, and now we're watching Game 1 unfold, and it makes everybody be like, oh, geez, maybe we didn't think as much of the Warriors as we should have. As you're calling it and watching it unfold, are you stunned by what's taking place in that game? Or did you have this feeling like, hey, the Warriors are game for this and the Wolves are not going to be able to look like they did against the Lakers?
Yeah, I'm never underestimating the Warriors. And we're in our bubble here. So we're focused on, and again, like we all have our thoughts, ideas about how we think the series could go, but also we have access, which we try to disseminate, once we get on the air, but we have so much more access. We're at practices, we get to talk to coaches, we get access to players as the rights holder. TNT, we pay a ton of money for that access. So we do get information that would help us in our broadcast and explain that. So really that's where Stan Van Gundy dives in with these coaches in these meetings. And, I always wish like, man, the whole meeting would be such a great podcast. Obviously they wouldn't agree to do it if that was the case, but you're gleaning a lot from those meetings. And I think, we were with the Warriors in the Houston series a couple of times, especially Game 7. They present themselves and they have that championship pedigree as a team that feels like nobody can beat them. And Houston was way more talented if you just go line by line. So the traditional ways to evaluate a series, let's go position by position and let's get into the analytics. Let's talk about the numbers and where things can be exploited. Well, who knew Steven Adams was going to be a factor in that series? That was not on the bingo card. Right. And it's for all those gritty, dirty things inside that Steven Adams did in those matchup issues. How about Rudy Gobert on the other side for Minnesota having that kind of Game 5? So again, like when a series starts in Game 1 and then you evolve through 7 games, or at least to even into the second and the third, you start to like develop where the matchup pieces that teams want to exploit, where they think they can't exploit on the offensive end. And so that's what really is fun for us. So no, I never really thought like the Warriors were overmatched with the Wolves. I don't think any team in the West feels like they're overmatched with any of their opponents. That's just the reality right now. And so I think it's going to be a really interesting path to the finish line of this Western Conference. And now that New York is doing what they're doing against Boston, that kind of changes things to how we perceive the East with Indiana and Cleveland and with the Knicks in Boston. I kind of had Cleveland-Boston as almost a lock. I haven't been on those series, but didn't feel like there was going to be much tension there, but here we are.
Well, and things are always dictated by stars going out, or maybe even sometimes role players like going. How healthy can you stay to go through this? And in your game that you're calling tonight, like how much different do you think the Warriors function now that they're going to have to do it without their guy? I was just reading before we went on the air. I think they're like. I was surprised. There was like 7-5, I think, in 12 games. I think I read without him this year. I was surprised they had a winning record without him. But anyway, are we going to get is the expectation this is now playoff Jimmy comes back and he's got to drag another group?
100%. That's the significant piece. Jimmy Butler has unlocked everything that the Warriors are now. But even without Stephen Curry, they have ways to do this. It starts with their defense, and it's not the sexiest thing to talk about. But once Jimmy Butler arrived, from that point to the end of the season, I think they won, 23 of 30 with him. They're the number one rated defense in the NBA. And so we're not thinking Stephen Curry has that much of effect on a defense. So they're actually going to be a little bit better defensively. Yes, they're going to miss Curry a great deal. He's their best player. There's no question. But now they're going to go back to doing things kind of the way they were even before Jimmy got there. And if you remember the Warriors through the early part of the regular season, they were playing a ton of guys. They played 12 guys in game one. And it wasn't because they had a big lead. They were playing guys for specific matchups. Pat Spencer got significant run in that game. Actually made a sweet little YMCA hook shot. So they're going to play a bunch of guys, and they're going to kind of get back to what they do. I don't know what they're going to do yet. We haven't had a chance to talk to Steve. But I would imagine Looney's going to be a major factor. I could see Kuminga as an early test. To see if he can catch, because really it's never about Kuminga's offense. He can get his own, he can score, he's an athlete. It's always about his defense because they're very much of a sharing, team-oriented defense. You push one player into certain zones, so another player has to pick that up. Well, Kuminga has had his issues with that, so that exposes them. And then you've got the Jimmy Butler factor, and who knew Buddy Hield was going to be a star again? So Buddy Hield is licking his chops right now because he's not thinking about, wow, we lost Steph Curry. It's like, wow,
here I go.
I'm from the Bahamas, and I've got a moment in the playoffs, and I'm going to go ahead and take it. So
maybe we get
see.
Oklahoma Buddy Hield, right? Back in the day when we were all in.
That's what we're seeing right now, and he had the ball in his hands all the time. I brought that up in Game 7 only to just remind people that Buddy Hield was a star at the collegiate level. Star. And he was back in Big 12 country there in Houston. He was a star at Oklahoma, and so he's not afraid of that. He's not afraid.
You mentioned about the Warriors and kind of the aura that they carry themselves with. Tell me about just being around and the access you guys have. What were your impressions of the Houston operation and also the Minnesota operation, the two teams that they have faced so far, and kind of what stood out to you from being around and covering and calling those games with those franchises?
Yeah, Houston, I feel very impressed with Houston. I'm a big Ime Udoka fan. He obviously, my ties with the Spurs. He came after my time with the Spurs, but I know what he's about. And when you come through that culture, and just it's a grounding also. It's not a conceited perspective. It's more of man, I know things could collapse in a hurry. That's kind of the Spurs DNA. They never take anything for granted. And I know Ime Udoka's like that. And so I was very impressed with everything they've got going. They do need probably some tweaks. I would like to see them stand pat a little bit and try to develop their players. I think they have enough athletes and they have the kind of players you could actually develop into more scoring, more shooting. I look at Desmond Bane with you guys as a perfect example of it. That would be the guy on the poster that I think everybody needs to try to emulate and try to improve. Aaron Gordon's another example. Aaron Gordon was not a very good three-point shooter at all until this year because he worked on it, and now he's become a major weapon from the three-point range. So I would like to see Houston. I hope that they don't overreact like a lot of teams have done recently, the Bucks being one of them, when they fired Mike Budenholzer. I don't want to see that team overreact. I think they can actually be like a real challenger for a while. Now they've experienced the playoffs too. Minnesota's, I'd say, a couple of steps above that, and they have a real alpha dog. They have Anthony Edwards, who had a terrible game one. That's not going to last. Guy's been a gold medal winner. He is one of the faces of the NBA moving forward. He's been to the Western Conference Finals. He's that guy. I think he's going to be one of the great players in the league for a long time. He's 23 years old. So they have that guy. Everybody wants to play with him as well. So they're going to be able to attract players, the 2 and 3 level players that want to be in that orbit. So Minnesota's in a great spot. I still think they are the favorites to win this series, even though the Warriors punched them in game one. To me, that was an anomaly from 5 days off and then just being so amped up and coming into a playoff scenario. They're going to win the attrition war at some point. So this is the 7th consecutive game for the Warriors tonight where they've only had 1 day off.
Wow.
And they're not going to have multiple days off until their 10th consecutive game.
Unbelievable.
So every other day.
Damn it.
So they've already played 10 playoff. This will be their 10th playoff game in 22 days. They were in the play-in with you guys, as you know.
Yeah.
So now they did have a few days off to start it, but not recently. I mean, going back into early stages of round one, they're every other day. And that's going to stay that way until the end of game 5, and then they get the 3 days off. So for me, if you're the Warriors, you're trying to win at least one more. You got to win one more, which is going to guarantee you a game 6, which is going to buy you that extra, the window between 5 and 6 where there are 3 days.
Yep.
Now that's your best chance to get Curry back, if he comes back.
You mentioned in passing when you're talking about Udoka about getting your start with the Spurs as a sideline guy with the Spurs. Obviously, massive news last week as Greg Popovich is now no longer going to be on the sidelines for the San Antonio Spurs. If you can, what were your emotions when you saw that we've seen the last of Pop coaching in the NBA? And then what were the memories that immediately came to mind from you getting your start there?
Yeah, that's tough to see. It was, he's been a big part of my career, on both sides. I would say, I wrote about this. I wrote an Instagram post about this. So I know you don't have enough time to get into that, but I would say when I first started, the whole notion of Pop with the sideline reporter that became a bit with Craig Sager and David Aldridge on a national level, he was doing that to me before that was a bit.
You were the test case.
I was the guy. And that was not a bit. That was genuine. He hated doing that. I was the jabroni there in his face coming out of the halftime locker rooms after the games, the pregame press conferences. And man, he absolutely went napalm on me many, many times. But as I wrote about, I will say, there was a time, probably my 3rd year into being the Spurs sideline reporter. You got to remember, too, for those who don't know me, I know you do, Chris, but I started as a cameraman with the Spurs. I was behind the scenes. I was doing minor league baseball on the radio, play-by-play, but the way I made it my life work was to do all these gigs in the off season. And part of that was strapping a camera on my shoulder. So Greg Popovich, you can imagine looking at me thinking, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing as an organization? Remember those years, he's trying to fight for respect. Phil Jackson's putting an asterisk on the Spurs for their first championship, which was my first year on the air, 99. So all of a sudden the camera guy is now the sideline reporter. What a joke of an organization. So man, he was hard on me, so hard on me. And then about year 3, he broke through and he'd put his hand around the back of my neck and he'd say, hey, you're doing great. Hang in there, kid. And I endured all of that. And then ultimately when I left, this is what I wrote about, that it was like the moment of my career when I got coached up by a legend because he brought me in his office. I thought I was in trouble because he was big on loyalty. I'm leaving the Spurs to go to Major League Baseball and work for the Brewers. I thought he was going to tear me down. And I had answers ready. I had a lot of answers ready. I was ready to fight back in that meeting. And I walked in there and thought I was getting the worst. It was actually the best. And he lit me up, man. He told me that, how much he appreciated my work ethic, stick-to-itiveness, all that. And then he told me, like, I want you to make sure that all those people that didn't allow you to grow in your career, I want you to make sure you make them pay from now on. That's your only goal from now on, is that you go represent us out there in your next venture. I swear, I was ready to, I didn't need a door. I could have run through that door. And that was the only major interaction I ever had on that level. We had some personal interactions. How's your family? Those just brief windows. But this was he got in my face and he freaking coached me up, man. I'm like, damn.
That's amazing.
I just got coached up by a legend. I'm a broadcaster. How great is that?
So last thing, because I know you got a meeting that you've got to go to. Are you on this series? Once you guys get assigned to a series, do you then just are doing this is the series that you are on for? Yeah. Once whatever it is. So in this case, you're on Minnesota Warriors. Will you then call all the Minnesota Warriors games?
No. So first question is yes. In the first round, we kind of changed series a lot because we have eight series and 5 crews, so you can imagine the math. Second round series, we have 4 crews for 4 series. However, we also share each of these series with ABC/ESPN. So I'm on 1 and 2 in this series. I've got the game tonight. I will not do 3 and 4. That's ESPN/ABC. I'm back on game 5. And then I think ESPN has 6 and 7. So I'm staying with TNT Sports. I'm not leaving TNT to go to the NBA. So these are my last days in the NBA, man, which is very sad.
Oh, don't get sad about it. Don't get sad.
So I got at least, if the Warriors sweep, this will be my last game tonight. If they go 5, I'll have game 5.
You know it. Don't act like you don't already have tea time scheduled in the Bay.
Yes.
Come on. Yes, you for sure
12:10 tea time schedule.
So there had to be part of you that was like, yes, when the Warriors won, because just personally, then, look, they're not sweeping. They're not sweeping them. That's not happening.
Right.
So at the very least, you're going to get that. And you've said, and my God, Brian, are you doing 6 too if it goes 6?
No, we're not. We're off 6 and 7. So 5 will be it for me after since going back to 1992 in the NBA. Game 5 is going to be my last.
So they tried to make you forget about that by posting a big thing this morning. Brian Anderson on the call at Roland Garros on TNT. I saw it this morning. I was like, they're going to remind him that he's going to get to go to Roland Garros to call tennis. So don't be sad about the NBA thing.
Hey, did you see Venus's tweet? Venus Williams, she said, hey, I'm honored to be on the air with these great athletes. I really appreciate Venus recognizing my athletic ability. I'm honored.
Venus Williams.
So wait,
can we get a Chris Vernon kind of Masters update?
I don't know enough about tennis. I don't know anything about tennis.
But that's the beauty. That's what's going to make that fun.
You're supposed to say you don't know anything about golf either.
I want to hear you rhyme with Swiatek.
Swiatek?
Yeah, there's no chance.
All right, so you are, and this is actually the inside business of stuff. When you just mentioned that you signed a long-term deal with Turner, so when that happens, now you have been a part of the NBA for the better part of 20-something years.
Yeah.
And now
30
years.
I was in college when I started with the NBA. Now on the air, my first year on the air was 99. So yeah, as a broadcaster. This is my 12th with TNT. I did 8 on the air with the Spurs as a reporter. Wow. And I did 6 before that just as a cameraman. I worked for the team, but I was the camera guy.
So do you care if I ask you a personal question about this?
Please.
Okay.
No, not at all.
So you sign a contract, and theoretically, the contract includes you calling NBA games.
Yeah.
But then, obviously you're still going to be doing tennis. You'll still be doing the baseball playoffs, which you do an unbelievable job with.
March Madness.
That contract is not the same as right? Was that always just in the cards
that
could possibly happen? You knew when you signed it, hey, we might not have the NBA if I sign this?
We all had deals that ended when the NBA rights agreement ended. So I just signed a new contract.
Oh.
So it's my decision. I knew.
Okay.
I knew what was coming.
Okay.
And I'm loyal. I've been with TNT Sports for this is my 18th year with them. I started in 08 doing the MLB postseason. So I'm very loyal to them. I love them. I love working with them. I didn't want to go to a new school, Chris.
Right.
Like, I love the NBA, but I'll just be a fan now because everything else that we do, TNT does, is what I want to do. I want to do the baseball playoffs and March Madness. And we picked up the Big East and the Big 12 regular season college basketball, which I love college basketball. So I'll be doing that. Roland Garros is a dream to be able to go to Paris for 3 weeks this time of year in the spring and summer and call tennis with John McEnroe and Lindsay Davenport. I mean, I'm good, but also it's also a big piece of my life that is going away. So I'm totally fine and I'm good with it and resigned to it. But it's tough, man. It's tough when your network loses a property like that. And so that's a sad day for all of us that we as a group, you're going to see most everybody that's on our broadcast on Amazon or NBC or ESPN, like most everybody, the inside crew, Stan Van Gundy, Reggie, all the familiar voices, Ian Eagle, Kevin Harlan, most of them are going and to these other networks to be on the NBA.
But somebody had to stick around to take all that money. Hey, you're losing everybody.
Yeah.
The price for Brian Henderson just went up, folks.
That's right. That pie chart got a little wider finally, after all these years.
You just had to wait them all out. You're like, oh, you guys are going to go here. You guys are going to go here. Okay, I'll stick around.
I'm sticking with this girl. She's got the personality.
I love it. Well, here at the show, we are massive, massive fan of yours and cannot wait to watch this game 2 tonight. This is going to be awesome. Oh, yeah, Devin's got a question
I want to
you.
ask you because you're in Minnesota tonight. I tell them all the time how, I remember we played in Minnesota. It's like the loudest I've ever heard a playoff game in my life. What, as far as playoff atmospheres, what is the Minnesota kind of fans rank? Because I had to cover my ears when I were there a couple years ago.
It's the nature of the arena. It's older, so it's straight up. And you know how at the Intuit Dome, the Clippers built the wall?
Yep.
So the wall is a new thing, but this has a wall all the way around, and it's a hockey venue, and it's even where we sit. It's so funny because it looks like we're in the penalty box. We're surrounded by rails. Nobody walks behind us. You're right on top. So and it cooks, man. They didn't really get to unleash Tuesday night in Game 1 just because their team was so bad, but it's going to be rocking tonight. That place is crazy, and it is. You're right. It's one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. It reminds me of the old Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio. Doesn't have a lot of the amenities that the new arenas have, and that's A-OK. It's all these arenas are awesome and they're loud, but this is a different punch.
But what's the environment what's the environment of all those years of calling these different playoff games? The one where
Oracle's the best I ever worked. Oracle
I can't even hear myself type of stuff.
Yeah, back in Oakland, I mean, that place was crazy. And then they're on this amazing roll. The Warriors in that dynasty run. That's probably as loud. I tell you, Madison Square Garden, though, we did the Pacers Knicks last year. Wow. That actually kind of blew me away. I don't get so enamored with NBA arenas I do MLB ballparks. Baseball ballparks are different. They're just like Wrigley Field and Fenway. These are historic places that you walk into and you just get the ghost vibe of these places. You don't really get that in the NBA outside of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And so Madison Square Garden, the old Oracle. But here, I have never done a playoff game in Minnesota until Tuesday. And so, but those first, all the pregame stuff in the first few minutes, I looked at Stan Van Gundy wow. And this place is cooking right now. So that's what's so great about being on the floor for these games and doing what we do in the NBA. We're removed from it in baseball. Obviously, you're not getting that kind of roar in tennis or golf. I've done a lot of golf in my life too. You just don't really experience that. March Madness is a different vibe because it's loud and there's bands, but it's not the home arenas. You're not going into Lawrence, Kansas. You're not going into the field house or the in Cameron Indoor. You don't get that. So the NBA is really where that exists. with these home crowds.
Those Wolves fans are going to be out for blood tonight too.
They are.
After no Curry, and they have to even the series. Like backs against the wall. Coach called out Anthony Edwards. Like it's on. Like that'll be great. Great environment. Great.
We're looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to get that in and see how it goes tonight. We're the only game too. It's the only game.
You
on
are
TNT.
the only game.
Yeah. So It's going to be great. That means we don't get our tip slid. You know how in Memphis we love that slide.
Oh, we hate it.
We didn't start till like 9 o'clock local time on Tuesday. That's brutal. So
Brian, before you came on the air, we were it's the first time. Of course, our team got swept by the Thunder, but it's the first time we were thanking the Thunder because we all got to go to bed last night.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, this is over. At least I get to get some sleep.
The old slide. No slides tonight. We'll be ready for you. Always great to be with you, Chris.
We'll be watching.
Man.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
All right, but Brian Anderson from TNT, he's the best.
Great.
Him and Stan Van going to be calling the game tonight in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's going to be out for blood.
Yeah, Minnesota's going to be so loud
we saw
tonight.
it last night with Denver.
Yeah, they're going to be on one tonight.
I mean, I don't care how many times a coach wants to say, our guys are focused, and we're not happy with just the one win. Like, bro, they're always happy with the one win.
Jimmy said it
They're
after game one that we got one.
Yeah.
We got one. We needed one. We got one.
You hear that Prince vibing at the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
Boy, man.
You like Minnesota.
Bro, I love Minnesota's vibe, bro. I'm telling you, it's so slept on, the vibe in there. They play it's like a Prince guitar riff right before the tip. And as they're warming up, I'm like, bro, this is lit. Shout out Minnesota, man. Shout out to y'all fans and Target Center, man.
He was effusive in praise about Minnesota when we played them.
I remember sitting there like this. I was like this.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything. So I expect to be rocking tonight, man.
It will be.
Wolves in 6.
They have to win.
They do.
They have to win. Much like Oklahoma City was lit last night.
They were
now, of course, their team had 43 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, they were making everything.
Yeah.
I did find a new reason not to like them. Our boss was at the game last night. He sent me a video. They did a karaoke cam. You know what song they sang all together?
Sweet Caroline?
Yes, bro.
100%.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. I sent him that video. I said, I hate them even more now. Thumbs down. They're all together singing it.
I mean,
that's a very Oklahoma City thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's
he said it's an Oklahoma City thing.
For sure. You're lucky they didn't sing This Little Light of Mine. I'm gonna let it shine.
Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Yeah.
I would be more surprised.
This little light of
Put
mine.
the words on the screen.
I'm gonna let it shine. All right, take a quick break. We'll come back after this Chris Vernon Show.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're gonna get seated this. So who's gonna actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished third in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Bain drives.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Mikal Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a lot of stuff. You get a parade. I think you go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. I need cameras to capture every waking moment between Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the same team. The pregame prayers will be generational.
Because that's preacher and a deacon. That's what we're talking about here. That prayer's going to be 40 minutes. We're going to miss the anthem.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Welcome back to the Chris Vernon Show on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, back to your host, Chris Vernon.
Throwing dead presidents. Look alive. Party is the evidence. It's a vibe. Celebrating excellence. We survive. Two-seater snapping, girl. I'm happy it's just you and I. Throwing dead presidents. Look alive. Party is the evidence. It's a vibe. Celebrating excellence. We survive. Two-seater snapping, girl. I'm happy it's just you and I. Yeah. Just be cool. Just be cool. Just be cool.
All right, we're back. Chris Vernon Show. Big shout out to Brian Anderson for joining us on the show today. He is going to be calling Minnesota versus Golden State tonight, and I think we all kind of feel the same way. Like, it would be shocking if we don't see a response from Minnesota, not to the same level that we saw a response out of the Thunder, because that was extreme, beating them by 40. But still.
15, at least 15.
I mean, you have the whole Steph thing back. And look, though they would never admit it, Jimmy and Draymond are thinking the same thing that Brian brought up. We've got to get this thing. We got to get one more of these. We got to get one more of these next 3. Because if we can get one more of these next 3, then we can get to 6. And 6 comes after a 4-day break, more than a week away, where we can get Steph Curry back in the fold. And if we can get to a game, because 6 would be at home too.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sure they're going, we ain't got to get this one. And frankly, we got to, at worst, got to get a split in our home games.
Yeah.
In games 3 and 4. How about that number that he brought up? What did he say? 10 and 22 days?
10 and 22 days,
That
yeah.
is insane.
And that makes sense of why Steph's hamstring might have got out.
10, and part of that is by virtue of having to play in the play-in against the Grizzlies. It's been every other day.
Yeah, that's a lot of basketball for a 37-year-old.
Our guys would have sat out 3 times by now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You imagine?
Did we ever talk about that with Tony when Marc Gasol saying that?
What?
When Gasol was on the Out the Mud with Zebo and Tony, and they were telling, they're like, Jared was in it. He said they beat us. They beat us in 5 games. They beat us. They beat us 4 games to 1. And Marc goes, do they know they have to play like 3 games in a row? They know they actually have to play. He's like, they don't even play 3 games in a row anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Marc.
That's tough.
I mean, he won mine.
That's tough.
Kept it a bean.
Yeah.
I expect my PlayStation 5 to be on by at least the 3rd quarter tonight.
Really?
I don't. Go Warriors. Get a dub.
I mean, you just saw the Nuggets.
I
last
know,
night, and it's like, bro, if you there's gonna be over the course, like young teams. It's like I gotta keep the intensity. I gotta keep the intensity. I gotta keep the intensity. Like we have seen these teams literally just throw games. We saw Golden State throw a game against us in Game 5. Then they did the same damn thing against Houston. I'm like, bro, did they play with their food? So because then when they lost 6, it was like, oh my God.
They play with their food a little bit.
Because look, you cranked it back up for 6 and you just got beat.
Yeah.
That's when it's like scary hours. It's like, okay, you screwed around because you knew you could get the home game, right?
Yeah.
And then they lost that one, and then, of course, they got it done in a Game 7. But there's so much of we'll bring our A+ when we've got to bring our A+.
Yeah.
Just get one tonight, man, Minnesota. Get one on the board, baby.
Well, I'll tell you this: if Ant struggles again, we're gonna you know who's gonna be poking an Ant voodoo doll tonight?
Me?
No, Jayson Tatum.
Oh yeah.
Sitting there going, "Come on, bro.
Make him forget about me.
Stay being terrible, please. I need you. I need you now.
I need you to not be good.
Forget about me, bro.
I need you now. I'm tired of these Jalen Brunson holding me like a baby memes. I love the Jalen Brunson holding Jayson Tatum like a baby.
Bro, they on his neck, boy.
The Pro Basketball Writers Association has
the PBWA.
They have relaunched the all interview team. They have made a first and second team that has been voted on, obviously, by the Pro Basketball Writers Association. Recognize the players who consistently provide the insights, details, and depth that bring our stories to life, of course, while meeting or exceeding their mandated media obligations.
Oh, I like this.
They have a first and second team that has been announced.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
No. Hold on now. And let me just say, you guys know my buddy Jared Weiss?
Yeah.
Was the Celtics writer for so many years. Yeah. Writes for The Athletic.
Yeah.
He's got a big story out on Halliburton.
I might tap in.
I'll try to print it off so you guys can read it, since I know you don't have athletic subscriptions.
This is not 2003. Don't print the freaking story off, bro.
Well, you're not going to be able to watch it. I've got you on my login.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what it's about, too? A huge amount of conversation. And Weiss started doing the interview with him, and they ended up talking for, like, hours. And a lot of it is about the mental health side of what he went through. And about last year and the Eastern Conference Finals and how they were better. They played even better without him. And then coming back this year and just not being what he was supposed to be. And all that stuff about going into a dark place and having, and there have been guys have been much more willing to talk about this kind of stuff. He's like, you know, he's like, I go on the internet and there's like, you know, it gets dark. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like all of this stuff, and it does have an effect on you.
Shout out to Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan.
Right. They've kind of paved the way for it.
They
definitely opened the door.
And they told me, like, they were like, you know, the NBA, of course, is like, you got to be good at basketball, of course. But they tell me, like, the NBA is 60% mental. Like, you can be cold at basketball, but if you ain't got this up here, it can eat you alive. And like to that point, like it makes sense. Like so many dudes are good at basketball, but they never can hold in the league because they're between the ears is never there. So I'm ready. I want to read that story.
There's one of the who's like is it Drew Hanlon? Whoever the big trainers. He had a book come out or something last year, but he was on like Windhorst and Bontemps podcast, and he said like one of his things is like he trains like a bunch of the big players, but Tatum's one of them. And he tells like you get that huge contract, and he tells them all, he said, you love basketball. You love basketball. Yeah. You would play basketball for nothing. Mm-hmm. It's like you get paid to deal with all the other crap. That's what you get paid to deal with.
And that's what
he goes, you play basketball for free, but you get paid your money to deal with all the other crap you don't like.
The mental can eat you alive. Like I hate to bring it up, but that even the doc we watched last night, it was that. But I want to see the interview too.
He said it said this is in fact like even the subheading on it. How Tyrese Halliburton rediscovered his basketball joy. Quote, I was struggling to look at myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, he is on the second team.
Tyrese Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton is on the second team.
I am unsurprised by that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, look, I am guessing. I have not seen this. I didn't even know this existed. So
I didn't either until just a few minutes ago.
All right. I'm looking at I'm going to say, okay, so this is basically who they think are the best interviews in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go Steven Adams.
No.
He doesn't talk.
But when he does,
he does. He's great. He's
great.
Introspective and great. Yeah. But he will bat away anything.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan. How about that one?
Giannis.
That was mentioned.
Giannis is on the first team, yes.
Anthony Edwards?
No.
Oh, Mike Conley.
Mike Conley's on the second
100%.
team.
Yeah.
Mike
I love
Conley's
the good guys. Yeah.
Mike Conley is one of the two players.
And super approachable. Joe Ingles, super approachable.
No, I take that back. Conley, because Conley has been a one-time All-Star. There's only one other guy on this that has not been an All-Star.
Only one other guy that has
CJ McCollum.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Love him.
Jamal Murray has not been an All-Star. I'm trying to think of guys.
He's currently in the playoffs.
That would currently be interviewed a lot.
You said currently.
Buddy Hield?
Donovan Mitchell.
No, Donovan Mitchell's on the first team, yeah.
Yes.
But Donovan Mitchell's been an All-Star.
Jared Allen.
No.
Nah, I don't want to hear this.
They like Jared. They like
though.
Jared Allen.
They do?
Yeah.
Who's they?
How about you say everybody else has been an All-Star?
Yeah, except for one guy.
Still in the playoffs.
And he's still in the playoffs.
Who they say? Oh, Josh Hart.
Josh Hart
for
is the
sure.
one who's never been an All-Star yet.
Josh Hart's great. Did you see? Hey, watch. I've got one for Josh Hart last night. Did you see this at the press? Did you see any of the press conference last night? Okay, Josh Hart was on his damn phone during the press conference. He said Uber Eats.
Yeah, Uber Eats. Yeah.
Look, watch it.
Tweeting, so I kept refreshing. Oh no, I was trying to order some Uber Eats.
Jalen Brunson's so mad. Why is Brunson so mad at him?
Because they're the roommates.
They got another one of those friendships too, yeah.
No, and a little bit later they're talking about winning and whatever. And Josh Hart's like, and then, obviously win the championships at Villanova and whatever. And Brunson pipes up and he goes, championship. You have one. I have two. And he's like, don't start this again. Whatever. Wow. He's like, you have one championship. I have two championships.
Add another championship.
Yeah. They're like brothers.
Yeah. Now the Pope is apparently from Villanova too, by the way.
Is that true?
Yeah, first American Pope from Chicago went to Villanova.
Oh, wait till they dig up his old tweets.
Probably just cursing Aaron Rodgers.
He definitely tweeted, shout out to Derrick Rose. Yeah, that's nice for sure. He definitely tweeted that.
Oh, just quoted Kanye West.
Yeah, definitely.
Or, hated Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Probably really hates Aaron Rodgers.
Who else is all right, so we've got a pretty good amount of them, right?
You said still in the playoffs, Rose?
Yeah, you only need 5. You only got 5 to go. Of the 5, 2 of them are in the playoffs still.
Al Horford, they love his old.
No. They're all, all-stars.
Jalen Brunson.
No.
Still in the playoffs, all-stars?
Darius
of them.
Darius Garland.
They're all all-stars. These guys are all all-stars.
Darius Garland's an all-star.
No.
Okay.
It ain't SGA, bro. If they put him on the list,
No, it's not SGA. You got 5 guys to go. They're all all-star players.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, yes. First team.
How did we miss that?
First team Curry.
That was terrible. That's a terrible job by us.
Come on, bro. We should have said him off the dribble. All-star.
I'm really surprised Ant's not on there because Ant is hilarious.
Yes.
How about Towns?
No.
They love the media guys love to interview Karl Towns.
Big bodega.
You said still in the playoffs.
So it got to be like Tatum or somebody.
All-star caliber player.
Yeah.
Tatum.
No.
Brown.
No.
Derek White.
No.
I guess he's not an all-star, is he?
This guy is a 4-time all-star.
4-time all-star.
Yeah.
It ain't Russell Westbrook because he hates the media.
Yeah,
Not Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, dude, he's on the all-time worst for them. Yeah,
not
media,
Russell
media
Westbrook.
hates his guts.
You said a 4-time all-star that's still in the playoffs,
Still
bro?
in the playoffs. He's a 4-time all-star.
I think we might
It's
be
not crazy. Like, this is, yeah.
We said Jalen Brown, Tatum, Al Horford, Brunson, Don Garland,
Mobley.
He said 4-time all-star. That's in still the playoffs.
So you've got the Knicks.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Jimmy Butler?
No.
Not
His teammate, though, you've named
Draymond?
Draymond Green, yeah.
I thought they hated him.
Bro,
Yeah. I'm surprised the writers love Draymond.
Man, like Draymond's post-game press
They're
conference.
great,
Dude,
Great,
he
but
is.
he's great, but I know like people.
And he loves to
Wow.
talk to the media.
Okay.
Yeah, also class back at media too. So
Yeah.
I
Okay, yeah. I didn't know that he would be a fan
So,
favorite amongst the media.
The other, do you want me to just give you the rest of these?
Yeah.
Okay, the other two on the second team are Bam Adebayo and Damian Lillard.
I was actually gonna say Dame. I was gonna say Bam.
The one on the
I love
first
Bam.
team, Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
Because he'll sit down. and
Durant,
talk.
yeah, he will sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
If you want to
About
talk about
basketball,
stuff.
too.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. All right, so we need to touch on this before we get out of here. You and I both watched the documentary. So yesterday afternoon, I had gotten back home, and before the game, before the Knicks and Celtics were going to start, I was like, you know what? I got time right now. And I went and grabbed William, and he came down and watched it with me. And we watched the whole thing because he has an awareness that this happened in NBA history, but we're talking about shooting guards. It's the new documentary that that Untold series that is on Netflix right now, and the new one is Shooting Guards, which is the story of Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton and bringing guns into the locker room. And you and I have not talked off the air about this, except for the fact that we both watched it. But you did say that you had learned a lot. You were obviously very young
I was
when
15.
this took place. I did not. The only thing I remember was that those guys brought guns into the locker room, and that's like, you remember that happened. You remember that was such a huge deal. I remember them getting suspended for 50 games. All of that. Details of it, no idea.
Yeah.
Right? And then I remember, obviously, Javaris Crittenton getting the murder charge and going to prison after that had happened, years down the road. And obviously, Gilbert's in the media all the time. Now Gilbert's got his own thing going on and whatever else. The fight starting over a card game on the plane.
That is the most NBA thing in the world.
Truly.
It really is.
And again, I don't want to spoil this because I want, I think a lot of our listeners will actually watch this on Netflix.
Yeah.
I say watch it.
Oh, for sure.
You say watch it
Bro,
as well.
I loved it, bro.
It was super interesting.
I feel like the little bits of information that were put in there throughout it was like, okay, it tied everything together. It wasn't just like, a couple of those documentaries, there's a lot of loose ends of like why this happened. Like they told the story of like, of course, Gilbert's a goofball. He's a prankster. And then, of course, the prankster pushes somebody too far and that leads to this situation.
And I thought it was kind of strange. Like they didn't do it the way a lot of these documentaries do it, which is having a bunch of media members or having a bunch of opinions. Like they didn't really pass judgment on a lot of the stuff. They just kind of presented this what happened, which is an interesting way to do it because a lot of times you have people talking their way through it. Like this is what it was like back then, or we knew this was going on, or whatever else. And even with it, look, I'm not gonna get too in depth because I don't want to. There's nothing to really spoil. Yeah. But you watch the trailer. Javaris Crittenton is sitting down, and that was honestly the very first question I asked when I saw the trailer. How in the hell is he out of jail?
And the reason why he got out, I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
And the answer is he should not be out of jail.
Yeah, the answer is he should not be out of jail.
The answer is he should not.
Somebody looked out for him, bro.
Hey, by the way, never even mentioned Javaris Crittenton as a Grizzly.
No, they did.
They literally skip
They
over
skipped
it.
over it. Yeah.
They go from Lakers to Wizards.
Yeah.
Like he was never in the Pau. They don't even mention the Pau Gasol trade.
Nah.
Yeah, he was in the Powell
They're like,
trade.
It was Pau and Kwame Brown and Aaron McKee. Like, that was the whole deal.
They had the famous quote that with Conley, Kyle Lowry, and Crittenton, they were going to lock them all in a room and see who came out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they did. Okay, they skipped over that. Because they
No,
resurrected him, like trying to resurrect my career in Washington. And I was like,
No, they never even mentioned that he was part of the Pau Gasol trade.
Yeah.
And they also don't, again, they don't pass judgment on a lot of things. They do have some players. Cool to see Andre Blatch again.
Shout out Andre Blatch, who looked like he ate old Andre Blatch.
Yeah. Andre Blatch.
Bro,
Dude, he's actually good.
He is good at it.
And he's explaining like what's going on in the locker room and whatever.
Because they were there. Then Nick Young fried as hell.
Yes.
Fried.
Deshaun Stevenson in it?
No.
Okay.
But Nick Young's in there and Andre Blatch
Who else is on those
like they were
Wizards
willing to
teams?
talk on the record about what it was like.
Like, yeah, they were like, yo.
Like, there's one point where Andre Blatch goes, I never believed in slow motion. He goes, but I swear it was slow motion. It's like something you see out of a movie when there's a moment where Gilbert Arenas, he's brought the guns to the locker room. Javaris and him have gotten into it. Javaris says, you know, I'll shoot you, blah,
And
blah, blah.
I'll shoot you in the good knee.
You don't know me. I you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I play with guns.
Yeah.
Gilbert Arenas has a whole gun collection.
Yeah, he bought it from somebody in Arizona.
He brings them, and then he says, go ahead, bro. Shoot me. Javaris Crittenton says, I don't need that one. Pulls his own out.
Yeah, he throws the gun.
And Andre Blatch is like, Andre Blatch is like, I never believed in slow motion. But it was like something out of a movie.
Yes, bro.
It's like,
I was
bro,
like,
what?
Bro, can you imagine that, bro? He was like, yeah, he threw the gun.
And
he threw
let's
his
just say
guns.
Gilbert Arenas apparently was not Mr. Go ahead, shoot me guy anymore. Like he realized, oh shit,
He might
this
shoot
is
me.
wrong
He might
guy.
shoot me.
Yeah. I have, you know what I mean? This was all, we were all talking funny.
Yeah.
This guy is, this guy is talking funny.
Yeah.
Like everybody else I can play with, but I can't play with him like that.
Right.
And then like even the part after that where he
And
was
the
like,
other thing
he
is
was
I
doing
did
the
think-
gun stuff in the huddle, like
They
making a
also
joke.
presented Javaris Crittenton, I thought because of his cooperation in the matter to do the doc, they presented him entirely too favorably to me.
To my Javaris?
Yes.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
they presented him too favorably.
He is a real criminal.
No, he was obviously a hardcore gang member.
Yes.
He rented a car to go shoot people. Come on, bro.
Yeah, bro. Because then after they were
Like,
they were
stop.
hugging him like he made it home. Look, I'm like, come on, bro. This dude like ruined
He's
somebody's
for
life.
real a gangster.
Like he had like he had the Crip tattoo on his stomach, Roser.
With the
No,
bandana.
he's dude. You
Hardcore.
You can read all about Javaris Crittenton.
They presented him way too favorably.
They were like, look, he made it back home. He's hugging his family.
And it's
I'm
almost like, oh, and he was with the Crips because he didn't have friends. It's like, okay. You're allowed to go be friends.
Hey, when they asked him, they said Javaris, because Gilbert's like, they asked Gilbert, were your guns loaded? And he was like, I mean, no. And then they asked Javaris, like, was the gun loaded that you had? He was like, well.
What's the point of having a gun?
What's the point of having a gun if it's not loaded? I was like, oh, he was with the shit for real.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I'm going to shoot you in your good knee.
If you think those are the only people Javaris Crittenton has shot, come on.
Yeah.
It's serious.
This man said the streets are, bro, hey.
No,
He was with-
he rented a car.
Yeah, he was
to
out-
go, and then he's like, "We're just driving through one night, and I saw the guy that robbed me." Like, oh,
Then he was
this
like-
is like by happenstance.
Hey,
Oh my god! Hey,
Roser,
look.
You go looking for
Hey,
him.
no. Hey, look! I'm in a car that I rented.
Yeah. A black
Of
SUV.
all the people to see, the guy that robbed me.
Then he was like, didn't like slow down and like God was like, don't do it.
Come
and
on,
I was
man.
like,
oh, stop.
I was like, he was like, I just bust a couple times and like I looked back.
yeah.
It was two people on the
Come
ground. I
on.
was like, come on, bro.
Okay,
You know what
stop.
you did, dog. Like
Stop.
Like
They
but,
presented him very
he's-
favorably.
but I will say
I thought it prevented.
you could tell Gilbert kind of like has like remorse about the whole situation.
Of course he does.
Because he's like, I basically ruined his career.
course.
Because I play too much.
That's right.
Like I was playing too much and I pushed somebody that didn't want to play.
That's right.
and like.
It's worth watching, though.
It is worth
It's
watching.
good.
Because I was 15.
You got to watch it, Roser. Tell us what you think. It's called Shooting Guard.
I'll watch it.
They do a good job with those.
Yeah, they do.
Those
the only
Untold?
one I didn't like was the Tebow jump, bro. That's the one I didn't really like.
I don't even remember.
It was too many. It was too many loose ends on that because they didn't.
Oh,
tell,
the Florida team.
They didn't tell stories about Aaron.
Oh,
Hernandez.
that was the full. That was a mini series.
That was Untold.
Yeah. But that one had like a bunch of different episodes.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
I wanted the full.
No, that was horrible.
No Aaron Hernandez, no Percy Harvin.
That's the other problem, though. They get cooperation, and so then they don't. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Okay, Javaris Crittenton's in this, so you're not getting. Do you know what I mean? I think he was presented way too favorably. Almost like a redemption story.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, fuck out of here,
when he got
bro.
out of jail,
he
was
literally murdered a girl.
Yeah. By the way,
who had nothing to do with anything.
I didn't know the name Peter Vesey. I did not know he was that big.
Yeah, Peter Vesey was
he was the original Woj.
Yeah. Peter Vesey was the guy on NBA on NBC at the desk.
But he was also the newsbreaker.
Yeah, because he broke it down. I was like, I know I've heard this name before, but I never knew he was that guy.
Like,
Because they said he
by
called
far the biggest of the NBA reporters.
Rose, you were watching it. They said he called the GM to ask him about the story. He was like, "Are you going to talk to me about it or not?"
Ernie Grunfeld.
Yeah, he's like, "No, bro. Like, F off." He's like, "No, well, we're gonna write this story, bro." Like, I can only imagine that happened in NBA Twitter today.
Oh my God!
Somebody pulling a strap on somebody in the locker room.
I mean, buddy.
Woo! Rosa, don't make that face. I said locker room.
I didn't. You did say locker room, not loading. Okay.
We understand they do not play about the gun thing.
I said locker room.
They don't play about the gun thing.
No, they don't. They don't.
Yeah, because even Gilbert was trolling after he did it. He was in the huddle doing this, shooting. I'm like, yo, Gilbert, you were wilding.
Yeah.
Bro, he got drafted in the second round because they asked him.
Oh, that made me laugh. I'm not gonna hold you. That made me laugh.
He went to the pre-draft camp, and he said, they asked him about what he wanted to be. He's like, I want to be a pimp. And they were like,
they asked him again.
What? You want to be what? He goes, I want to be an international pimp. Hey, so then he's like, now I'm watching the draft. He's like, I'm watching the draft. And Richard Jefferson, who calls me, he's like, hey, man, I think I'm about to get drafted. He's like, what? You're like the third or fourth best player on our Arizona team.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're about to get drafted. You're crazy. And hung up, and he's like, then Richard Jefferson gets drafted. He goes, I'm sitting around in the second round. Stupid ass thing. I want to be an international pimp.
They're like, do you regret that interview? He's like, yeah, I kind of regret it now. Gilbert's funny, bro.
He is funny.
He is funny.
You live and learn.
Yeah.
Live and learn. But no, you should watch it.
It's worth watching.
It's about an hour 20? Hour 30?
Yeah, hour 20.
Yeah.
William loved it too. Yeah. I mean, it's fun to it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Because it's a moment in sports history that we don't know the details of.
Who's the current NBA equivalent of Gilbert Arenas?
That play too much?
I don't even know if it's just play too much, but I don't know,
there is
they
nobody.
won some good, but a score, an awesome score, but they never won big. But
Donovan Mitchell.
Dame is a better version, maybe.
Dame is probably a high level version.
I was gonna say LaMelo.
LaMelo ain't one. He's 22 years old.
But dude, unless you go back in time, and again, they didn't focus on this too much.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to understand how big a star Arenas was for a few year period.
He
the
was.
Hibachi stuff. He was
Agent Zero.
He was what is cool.
NBA Live 2008.
He was the cool thing.
NBA Live 2008. Everybody used to pick the Wizards.
He was the cool thing, bro.
Gilbert Arenas.
And he wanted to act like him, and his celebrations and the hibachi thing and all of it.
He was
cool.
He was doing this before Harden was doing
Zero.
this.
Yeah, no, he
Everybody,
was. I remember.
He was the cool thing.
Yeah. We used to play. We used to fire the game up. We would pick the Wizards to play with.
He also
Gilbert.
smiled all the time.
Yeah, he did.
Right? You know what I mean? He had a
good personality,
charisma to him.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Turns out that he ruined somebody's career being goofy.
Maybe. I mean, I think a lot of blame goes to Javaris Crittenton, honestly.
Someone pointed out that the untold thing, the Manti Te'o one was the one.
That's
the one
that
that put them, that
you're
made
right.
them, you got to watch the
That
untold.
was amazing.
The Manti Te'o was great.
We need more of that, bro. More of the Manti Te'o.
The Manti Te'o one, because we didn't know anything about that.
Nah.
And we had totally forgotten about it. We
really did.
Now Manti Te'o's back on television and he works for
he's Amazon.
Is it Amazon?
Yeah,
he's
Thursday night
NFL
football.
Network. Yeah, NFL Network. Yeah. No, he does Good Morning Football now.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, after they lost Schrager?
No, before that he was doing it. Dude, they messed with that show so much. And yeah.
They had just become.
I love that show.
When they had Kay and Schrager and Brandt and Foxworth, they had really not Foxworth.
Burleson.
Nate Burleson.
Nate Burleson.
They had really it was just breaking through to where it was a must-see TV.
Even when they lost Burleson and they got McCourty, it took a little bit, but they got the chemistry right. Then Kay left and Jamie Erdahl came in, but she was good too. They were still, those four were good, and then they've all just.
I know. Kyle and Peter need to be together.
Yeah.
They were good.
They're really good together, yeah.
Good group together. Anyway, all right, it's going to do it for today's show. We all expect Minnesota to even up the series tonight. Only one game that is going on tonight on the Thursday slate. So, thank you to Brian Anderson. Thanks to John Rose across the glass. Thanks to Devin Walker. Thanks to Jalen back in the studio. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, we gone.